am going to attempt to do this with one hand. I don't know how good I'll do. I may wind up having to put the camera down and just come back after I poured it in. You can put your hand above the water and you can feel whether it's got any heat coming off of it or not. This water is starting to warm up. I can feel that you can see the steam coming off of it a little bit. You want to go ahead and put your whisk in there, and you don't want to pour everything in at one time or it'll clump up on you. So pour a little bit in. Ideally you're going to be doing this with both your hands so you can pour with one and stir with the other one. You can see this stuff is super sticky. There it goes, it's dissolving down into it a little bit, and you want to stir it up as you're pouring it in. You're not going to be shooting a video hopefully when you do it, so you can have both hands. Now you get the gist of it. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down so I can stir and pour at the same time, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've got everything poured in, and you can see this already got a nice frothy head on it. The water's heating up, you'll hear it. And what you're kind of waiting for, you need to stay right here with it. If you walk away for 30 seconds, this shit's going to fly out of the pot and make a mess. That's just the way this stuff is. It's like it's got a mind of its own, and it knows when you walk away. What you're going to do is you're going to boil this up until it comes to a hot break. You'll see it start foaming up. With a pot like this, something real small, basically all you got to do is just kind of lift the corner of the handle up a little bit, take it off the heat a little bit. The foam will die back down. And what you have to do is keep playing with it, keep stirring it so everything's good and dissolved. And you stay right here with it. And once it comes up to a rolling boil and the foam quits trying to come up out of the pot, that's when the hot break's passed. It usually doesn't take it very long. Every batch of beer that you do is going to be different. I've noticed that when you use a lot of dry malt extract in these kits, they seems to have a pretty massive amount of hot break foam with it. I've got my lid over here. Another thing you want to do is make sure you keep your measuring cup around. Alright, you can see it starting to boil. So go ahead and get this out of there, and I'll let you watch it. You can see it starting to rise up. Lift the pot up. It'll still keep bubbling, but it'll calm down. Set it back down, raise it up, and as you can see, this is why you need a bigger brew pot than the amount of beer you're going to be doing later on. You got to stay right here with this thing, because you can see it's still coming up pretty good, even raising it up, and just keep holding it up. You'll see it start bubbling again. Set it back down, and if you leave this sitting there for more than about 2 seconds without picking it up at this point, this stuff will just start shooting out of the pot, and it will make one hell of a mess. Alright, I think I might need to turn my heat down just a tiny bit. So this is on high, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to about 5.5. On these small pots, they hold their heat real good. Alright, you can see it boiling back up. Starting to come up. Just pick the corner of the pot up. Set it back down. And it'll take somewhere between a minute to a couple minutes for this hot break to finally pass. Lift it up, set it back down, lift it up, set it back down. Alright, it looks like we're getting there. It's not foaming up as bad as it was. And this is lots of fun doing with a great big pot. when you've got the heat cranked up on the big eye and the steam shooting up the side from the eye. Not so bad with the small pot, but you still got to stay right here with it. Okay, well, looks like we're about there. I'm not having to lift it up anymore. Oh, spoke too soon. Oh, here we go. Alright, that's pretty much it. We're up to a rolling boil. It's sitting on the pot, on the stove, and it's not shooting out the top. That's the hot breaks passed. If you were doing your beer, this would be the time you would pitch your bittering hops. Since we're not going to do a full boil, you're pretty much reached the past the hot break on this. You can go ahead and cut it down to a simmer. You don't want to cover your pot up at this time yet because it's still got a lot of heat where it's still boiling. It'll take it a little while to start coming down. Once the temperature drops down on it just a little bit, also you want to just let this thing sit for about 15 minutes after it comes past the hot break. So got the timer, 15 minutes popped on it. It's still boiling. I've got it on simmer. It'll take it a few minutes. You can go ahead and give it a stir. Good little trick to keep everything clean. Make sure you use either a empty liquid malt extract can to put your spoon or your whatever tool you're using to whisk, whatever, to stir up your wort while you're boiling it. Leave that sitting around. You can use that with the great big tall plastic spoon that come with my kit though. That's what I always use, one of those cans sitting around to put it back in. You lay it down on a paper towel, it soaks through, it gets on the counter, and an hour and a half later after you get done dicking around with your beer, you got to pull it up and it's stuck to the paper towel, and then you have to scrub everything up. It's a nice keeps from making such a mess in the kitchen. Makes it a whole lot easier to clean up. Alright, looks like this thing has calmed down. So now it's not boiling anymore. You can go ahead and put your lid on there and kill the heat. And then just let it sit for 15 minutes. And then you put it in an ice bath and cool it down, and put it in your fermentation vessel that you're going to use to do your yeast starter, and then pitch your yeast. So I'm going to let this cool down. Well, actually this has got to sit for another 13 and a half minutes, and I'm not going to make you watch that because that'd be boring as hell, just sitting there watching a pot. And I'll be right back after this cools off, or after the 13 minutes has passed, rather.